Hello, everyone, and welcome to Developing Palates. I am Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is June Liu. How you doing, June?
I'm good. So sunny California weather, and it's either blazing fire or it's hot as shit.
Yep. I
And
think it's the last. I think the last day, or the day before the last day of the heat, before we get cooler weather and a little bit of rain. So,
actually get what we pay for. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So today we are talking about the Byron Serie Siglo XXI Elegantes. This is a Toro-ish cigar, so 6 1/8 inches by 55 ring gauge. This comes out of the Vegas de Santiago factory in Costa Rica. Wrapper is Ecuador, binder is Dominican Republic, and the filler is undisclosed. This is blended by Nelson Alfonso. Price point on this cigar is $33, so this is a super premium, and it was released in July of 2016. So with the cigar details out of the way, let's get into our pre-light experience. So June, what was your pre-light experience like?
Yep. I mean, as you said, by the size of it, I mean, this is a monster of a cigar. The wrapper, I penned it at a Colorado Claro sort of a shade. It was incredibly silky smooth and oily and semi-oily. Veins well pressed, seems tight. Cigar for the one that I've had, I smoked two of them, but for both of them, it was pretty well packed with tobacco, so it had a pretty firm give to it. Um, and head finish off with a really well adhered triple cap. Um, Pre-light experience of the aromas. Wrapper, I got a balanced mixture of dry white pepper, aged cedar, and barnyard. Foot, I got some rich roasted nuttiness and white pepper. And on the cold draw, I got that same rich nuttiness and cedar. So overall, very luxuriously presented cigar.
Hmm. Yeah, wrapper was a nice golden brown. There were a few visible veins that carried a lighter shade to them. The seams are pretty easily visible, but they're very smooth. The cap application, I describe it as a work of art. I mean, they're so smoothly applied. It just looks like they were like, I don't know. It You gotta just take a look at one and see how nicely built this cigar is.
You know,
Um, Cigar has two bands, but they try to make it look like it's three bands. So the primary band has like a horizontal cutout on like the front half of it, so you can still see a little bit of wrapper underneath it, but it's really a single band. Um, Primary band, like I said, has a name. In the bottom lists the series on it. The footband has some nice artwork on it, and it lists the company name, selected tobacco name on it. The aroma that I got from the wrapper was a very faint hay and barnyard, and the aroma from the foot was a sweeter hay. Pre-light draw, it gave me some hay, also a little bit of graham cracker, and that graham cracker has a light sweetness and a little bit of cinnamon to it. So it was a very nice presentation and early indication of the cigar. So getting into flavors, first third to final third, what was your experience like?
um, just from first light, I got very deep and distinctive notes of like a very slick and oily black peppersing. So that was accompanied by some medium body sweet cream and wood bitterness. Through the retro, it was intensified black pepper spice, but not to the point where it's going to sting your nose. It'll still, it's there, but it's not like, oh shit, it's there.
Hmm.
Uh, so in conjunction to that, I got some underripe stone fruits, bread, and wood bitterness. Finish linger with a lot of dry roasted nuts, slight wood bitterness, and faint cream. Um, Within the first third in terms of body and strength, I pinned it somewhere in between medium full for body, and strength at a solid medium. So moving on to the second third, I felt like the second third is the part that's kind of like the sweet spot, where the profile really smoothed out for me. Um, the profile became sweeter and creamier, and that paired really well with that oil and slick black peppersing. So I had this really nice, sweet, creamy, spicy thing going on. The black pepper itself decreased, and that allowed I thought that allowed for more of a balanced flavor profile. In addition to that, sweet cream, and then a black pepper, I got oak, bread, dried nuts, slight wood bitterness, and through the nose, still intensified black pepper, bread, and wood bitterness. Finish lingers with dry roasted nuts, slight wood bitterness, medium body sweet cream, and I got started to get like a cinnamon zing to it. Body continued to be somewhere between medium full, strength solid medium. Moving on to the last third. The last third, it started out at the beginning with very similar notes to the second third. Still got that medium body sweet cream, and that bread that's accompanying those notes. Oily, slick cinnamon zing, slight black pepper spice, oak, and dried nuts. What was interesting about the last third was that wood bitterness in the beginning was just absolutely nowhere to be found. It just went away from me. Through the retro, I got intensified black pepper paired with bread, finished lingering with dried roasted nuts, slight wood bitterness, and medium body sweet cream and cinnamon zing. At the halfway mark, though, I felt like with my example, the two examples that I had, the complexities really went down south, and it died quite a bit. And I namely got a cinnamon zing and wood bitterness. I mean, it wasn't. It was still good because I feel like that. Whenever I mix spice and wood, it's a tasty combination.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else just kind of tapered off. Body still medium full, strength still medium mark. So overall, I felt like the cigar shined the most in the first and second third, where it was so much more distinctive, and there was always full notes and always balanced notes. But by the last third, the last half of the last third, rather, was kind of where it kind of fell apart a bit for me, where perhaps some age would have helped down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, the initial draws brought some woodiness and a light black pepper. There was a spicy tingle on my lips. I usually get that like on the pre-laid draw, but that's usually kind of the extent of it once I'm smoking. But for this, it was kind of more pronounced, so I was still getting it during the smoking profile. After a few draws, the black pepper morphed into a cinnamon. And then a quarter inch in, the profile was creamy wood and cinnamon. It was a really good combination. It was just so full and flavorful there. I was really digging it. The retrohale was like a mellow, creamy wood. Half an inch in, retrohale gained a bit of bready component to go along with that creamy wood. And then just passing the inch mark, the cinnamon went away and the creaminess mellowed out while the woodiness took front stage there. The retrohale lost its cream, so it was primarily woody, but it still had a really good bready finish to it. And then inch and a half in, the breadiness from the retrohale was making its way into the mouth flavor, and it was mixing well with the wood and that dialed back cream. And then as the third came to a close, the mix of wood, bread, and creaminess, it really all came together really well. The retrohale was still wood and bread, and the strength in that first third was just right below medium for me. Second third, as it began, a slight bit of cinnamon came back to the profile with the wood, the bread, and the cream. Then half an inch in, the cinnamon and the cream went away while the wood and the bread remained there. There was also a slight bit of bitterness that had joined in the profile, but it wasn't a detracting bitterness. It was kind of aiding into the profile. 3/4 of an inch in, bread and bitterness went away. The woodiness was left as the lone note there, but the retrohale was still wood and bread. At an inch in, a graham cracker note came in, and that carried a little bit of a sweet breadiness to it and the cinnamon. So that went along with the wood very well. And then inch and a half, that sweet breadiness went away, and the wood and the mild cinnamon was remaining. Then as the third came to a finish, a little bit of the breadiness came back in to mix with that wood and the cinnamon, and the strength kind of bumped up a little bit to be right at medium. And then getting into the final third, the profile was just wood. Retrohale was a slightly bit of wood with a little bit of bread. Half an inch in, some bitterness came back to mix with the wood, and the retrohale was a bitter woodiness. And then inch in, the bitterness increased and the wood moved into the background, and the retrohale had a kind of an equal mix of that bitterness and wood. And then 1.25 inch in, the bitterness settled down some, and some cream joined into the profile, kind of with an equal mix of the bitterness, the wood and the cream. And then 1.5 inch, the bitterness was gone, and the profile was just a kind of a creamy wood. And that's kind of how the profile finished for the cigar, and the strength, increased slightly more to go just above medium. So strength level, slightly below medium, then slightly above medium. So just a slight increase as the cigar went along. Getting into performance, burn and draw, what was your experience like?
I thought the burn was really good. I smoked the cigar for 2 hours and 55 minutes, so it took a while to get through it.
Yep.
Burn line, but I was thinking for $33, that's pretty good smoking time.
Yeah.
Burn line was fairly sharp, with all the tobacco leaf that it always burned in unison. So no real issues there. Ash was fairly strong, having no ashes falling on the ground. Average ash mark of 1.5 inch increments. So overall, very great performing burn. Just being really nitpicky and not calling it perfect because it was like slightly ashy. Slightly flaky and things of that nature. Draw, on the other hand, it was perfect. I felt like both my examples had just enough of a tug to let me know that I'm having a cigar. And of course, not taken away from all the flavors of the cigar and what it offered me. So perfect draw.
Yeah, the performance for me was $33 worth. It was perfect for burn and draw. There was a slight wave here or there, but that's just being super nitpicky. I still gave it an amazing burn. I'm not too worried about a little wave here or there. But ash held on like inch and a half increments. And then the draw was just right amount of resistance that I look for. The larger ring gauge is not my preference. Whenever I smoke something that's probably like 54 or above, it takes me a few draws to kind of get comfortable with the mouthfeel. But once I get in the swing of it, then it's I'm not even noticing it anymore. So same thing here. Just took me a few draws to kind of get on it to make sure I'm taking the draws correctly and things like that, with my mouth a little bit wider open than a smaller ring gauge cigar. So, but fantastic. There's nothing to complain about in regards to performance for the sample I smoked. Overall, what were your thoughts on the cigar?
Overall, I rated it very good. So just a shy below, one level below our best grade, which is amazing. So a couple of thoughts. I put this in the luxury cigar category. Unless if you're balling out of control, you're not going to be smoking this every day. Most average smoker will not smoke this every day, let alone at a out of their price range to purchase, perhaps. So when I think about in the super premium side of the cigars, I think either Davidoff or I think Cuban cigars that are namely the double Coronas, the Esplandidos, the edition limitadas that typically within the last few years anyways, they come in bigger sizes such as this, right? Like Sublimes and bigger for the most part. So that's my benchmark and that's my playing field that I'm benchmarking off of. So, the one that I really think about is, well, would I rather spend my money buying a nice Cuban cigar, or would I spend the $33 buying something like this? Both Cuban cigars, yes, they've gotten better in construction, but and they're typically a lot better in their limited edition series, but there's still that issue, right? And there's still, even without the construction issues, there's still consistency issues. Whereas something like this, I felt like the two samples that I smoked, and smoking also like Atabis as well, right, within this line of the super premiums, have always been consistent. So that you are going to pay good money and you're going to get the experience that Nelson Alfonso wants you to get, I feel like. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think to that extent, it's definitely worth a special occasion cigar, and to allow your budget to buy a couple of them for that special occasion, or even if not special occasion, if the weather's perfect and you don't got shit to do all day, and light one of these up and enjoy yourself, right, for
Mhm.
like 3 hours. So yeah, that's kind of my couple of thoughts, and I really enjoyed it. My score and my ratings will reflect that, and my verbal confirmation reflects that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was good.
Yeah, this is a very smooth cigar. Really nice flavors, and it's nice getting a good amount of flavor from a cigar that has this kind of a body level. So it's not, it's not a super full strength. It's kind of in that medium level. Um, if you're a full body, full strength smoker, this cigar will probably be lost on you, unless you're someone that can appreciate flavor that comes along with a lower strength level. Um, the price doesn't factor into our score, but it's definitely we have to note it. And like you mentioned, it's unless you're a baller, this is not going to be your daily smoke. So you just have to pick and choose when you want to experience a cigar. But I think it's definitely worthwhile to experience at least once. So if you're looking for something for a special occasion, I think this definitely fits the bill. Um, and just keep it on your radar to know that it's out there and that it's something you should at least try to see if you want to grab some to just kind of throw in your humidor, and then just know that you have something like this in there to go to when you just feel like you're in the mood that you want to just sit back, have a nice amount of time to kind of check out, really just enjoy the flavors and things like that. But the larger ring gauge, I'm not the biggest fan of. So I think smoking this in something that's a smaller ring gauge, and this is a different blend than the first or the initial Siglo series that they offered. So I enjoyed the Siglo 20, the Londinenses, even though it's a 54 ring gauge. I think I enjoyed that a little bit more. If the ring gauge scares you away, know that there are other versions of this similar cigar to this in the different Siglos for the Byron. So definitely check it out. But I think this is still a really good representation of the line. So something to keep on your radar. Getting into scores, you gave it an 8.53. I gave it a 7.33. How do you think your score matched up with your experience?
I think it's in line with my expectations. I mean, it's the flavor profile was, I rated it, I believe, like very good, and good.
Hmm.
Um, and essentially the flawless construction helped the cigar with the score as well. So, and that's what I expect. I mean, in a super premium cigar, there better be no issues with construction,
Right.
and that's what this delivers. So, combination of a very smooth flavor profile in conjunction to that nearly flawless construction warrants a score like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I think my score matches up well with my experience. I mean, it started off fantastic. It kind of dialed back a little bit as the cigar went along, but it was still a good experience the entire way. Get a ton of smoking time out of it. Just got to keep in mind the price point. So it's not going to be something you're going to really revisit a ton, to keep going back and seeing how the profile matches up. But like I said, it's definitely worthwhile to try it, and then see if you want to keep some around for those special occasions, things like that. Any final thoughts from you?
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. If you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us so you'll get notified every time we release a new review recap. But be sure to go to the website and read the full written review, developingpalates.com. And be sure to follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+. And thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next video.